They went after our side for nonsense. They went after our side for non-crimes. They politicized and weaponized intel agencies and law enforcement with made-up charges that eventually got kicked by the Supreme Court. And it wasn't just Trump and his top aides like you, Bannon and Navarro and Jeff Clark. You guys have the wherewithal to fight this. They went after parents, Christians, protesters on January 6th. They hunted them for years. So these lawfare Democrats, I would say, we are just getting warmed up. James Comey and Big Tish James are just the appetizers. Hearty appetizers, but they are just the appetizers. Just wait till we get to the main course.
The long and the wide of it, so to speak. Mike Davis, Viceroy, where do people go to Article 3 to find you, sir? Now,
we know where to find Mike Davis there. How is it going out there, my fellow world patriots? And it just occurred upon me that I put out postings for Telegram, but I don't think I even did on YouTube. So let's, of course, bring in, we got episode 182 of Hold the Line with Miss Lisa B. and Mr. Mac. And we will hear from Miss Lisa first, as the true gentleman Mac insists. How's it going out over there in the... I got a two-part question for you, Lisa. How's it going over there in the UK? And then how far is a place called Coventry from you? Well, you don't have to give me actual, but is it far away or?
Coventry is the middle of the country. It is in what they call the Midlands, and it's very close to Warwickshire, where
That's crazy.
the what's it called? Lord of the Rings.
Really?
Yes? Tolkien and all of that. Yeah, that's where he wrote it. You know, like Middle Earth, Middle England, the Midlands. That's
Crazy.
where he wrote it.
Well, just really quick before you continue on and greet everybody, just so everybody knows, I grew up in the state of Rhode Island in a town or a city called Warwick, right? And then one part of my life, I worked in a place called Coventry. So isn't that quaint that, you know, we stole all the names of your guys' places over there?
I think Coventry is in Warwickshire. And Warwick, we call it Warwickshire. And it's not far away from where Ozzy Osbourne was. Who's the guy who did Electric Light Orchestra? You know, there's a lot of musicians and that from around that particular area as well.
Cool.
A lot.
So
it's full of castles. How's everything else?
Yeah.
Everything's good. Everything's great. Everything's going swimmingly, and still busy. still really ridiculously busy. But yeah, things are going well.
Very good. And Mr. Mac, sir, how was your week? I hope everything was good. And what's going on with you, my man?
Things are good. Can't complain. We are moving faster and faster. It seems like less and less we're able to cover in the short period of time we're able to have the show every week. But yeah, things are good. Thanks to everybody who watches. Thanks for having us. Space Shot as always, and thanks to the mods. Let's get to this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, I'm going to show you guys a little funny here. I've trimmed out all the links, I think, and just to make sure that, you know, there's no names or anything in here, because I've talked about this in the past, and I think maybe some people thinking that, you know, maybe I'm joking around, or maybe Space Shot makes stuff up and stuff like that. But let me get this out here before I show the rest of the screen, folks, and pull this back. So I had a little, back and forth with my 4 to 6%er, I call him, and I'm just going to pop it up on the screen. So I blocked his name and all that stuff. So, but here's a text exchange between us, and I said, "Oh, 8 Democrats finally voted yes." I was like, "Who's holding the government at for ransom essentially? Breaking 8 Democrat senators, Durbin, Hassan, blah 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 blah." I said, "Waking up to it yet?" And obviously he was being very tongue-in-cheek here. He's like, "Okay, buddy, you win. The Republicans are the party of the people. The Democrats are the party for the rich." Obviously. I had like a little smiley emoji in there. But, like, they just don't see it, guys. I don't know what it's going to take for some of these people. I think that, honestly, I just think some of them are just, like the drops told us, 4 to 6% are just too far gone. And I think that percentage is a little bit higher than that, unfortunately. But I don't know what it will take when you constantly get lied to and keep going back for more. It's like, come give me more seconds. I want it. Give me more. It's very tasty. So I just want to show you guys that really quick. I thought that was an interesting thing. But let's see. Let's go on this one first because I know, Lisa, we were going to talk a little bit about this. I love this. Let me see. It's only 15 seconds. So let's bring this bad boy up and show the folks. There we go. It's this producer, man. BBC Director General Tim Davie resigns over Trump documentary edit. Oh no, Lisa. The BBC, you guys are just so nasty over there. So bad for President Trump.
You mean the biased broadcasting company?
Yeah, that one.
And you know, Skull and Bones is 322. The BBC, like B being 2 and B 2 and then 3 C. You know, the Skull and Bones is 322. The BBC is 223.
No coincidence. But you were mentioning it before the show here. Let me just read a little paragraph, and then you had your addition to it. It says BBC's latest: Trump threatens to sue corporation for $1 billion if it misses deadline to comply with 3 demands. He has threatened to sue them over the edit of the January 6th riots. Remember, we're going to go there, and I'm going to be with you, and we're going to fight like hell. Well, that was complete BS. So he basically threatens to sue them. The BB's chair apologizes over error of judgment. Downing Street coy on license fee, but says BBC not corrupt. Outgoing chief says BBC is not institutionally biased. Okay. But to be honest with you, Lisa, I don't know what the three requests are here. I'm going to kind of go through them, but he basically, obviously, wants the record to be straightened out, which, you know, they're journalists. They shouldn't be editing anything, right?
Well, they're the British Broadcasting Company, yes. So they're owned supposedly by the British public, as in, you know, we pay. I don't pay. I don't have a TV, but you know, everybody that has a TV has to pay a license fee, and that license fee goes to the BBC, and the BBC basically spend it on woke presenters, woke journalists, and a lot of kind of nepotism as far as who gets a job there. They all think in nearly exactly the same way. And if anybody's been listening to the show, you always hear me say the BBC is so biased when it comes to Trump. Now, they didn't just make an error of judgment. They didn't just make a mistake. They spliced together 2 completely different pieces of footage and edited out when President Trump said peacefully and whatever. What was the terminology, Mike? Peacefully and...
Yeah, he said cheer. He said cheer them on, but they made it sound like he said fight.
The clips in the clips in the bottom of the chat, what they altered in the original clip. If you want to play it,
yeah.
Go right ahead, Lisa. Continue.
Yeah, they you know, so they spliced together 2 completely different bits of footage. They purposely edited out the bit where Trump said about peacefully and something else, you know. And they're saying that it was just a mistake. So it was a panorama program. Panorama, everybody's biased. You know, everything that the BBC put out, and probably about 90% of the British press is really biased against Trump. So, for example, when that guy fainted or passed out in the White House, in the office there, you know, they turned around and said that Trump panicked. And it's like, no, he didn't. Yeah. And you can see the footage, and they're just blatantly lying, and they have been. And they're, you know, like anybody that's not woke doesn't stay at the BBC, because you need to be woke to work at the BBC, because that is the culture. And they are very, very biased, and they have a policy that they're supposed to stick to, where they're supposed to be like non-partisan and give fair kind of coverage. So if they allow like the speaker, the head of like Keir Starmer, is the head of Labour, the Labour Party, to speak, they must allow the opposition to speak as well. That's in their not just their policy. It's like, you know, a regimen that they have to follow. and they don't. And apparently it's okay. Now, this is the same BBC that pushed like the jabs down everybody's throats. You're going to die if you don't get the jab and all of that kind of thing. You know, this is the same BBC that protected Jimmy Savile. This is the same BBC that protected Hugh Edwards, who was a presenter for something like 30 years on the BBC. And he was grooming like schoolboys and paying them and dropping his pants on camera, you know, and sticking his arse into the camera and stuff like that. This is the same BBC that protected a whole heap of other people. And every time they do, they say, "Oh, it was a mistake. You know, we didn't mean to do that." And it's like, absolutely, you did. So Trump should sue them for more than $1 billion. They've been caught with their pants down, and the only reason that they were caught is because somebody who was asked, who used to be an advisor to the BBC, got asked to do an investigation and a report, and that's what he came out with. That they completely created this bias against Trump. Remember, they're a foreign entity interfering in an election. And that's exactly why they did it. You've got Keir Starmer, who paid a load of people to go over and help the Democrats during the 2024 election. Don't ever forget that.
Yeah, you had him out there like campaigning in like the swing states and stuff like that. I don't know if had that ever been done in the past. I mean, I've not, to be honest, before Trump had not been a big political follower of things, but to me, that sounds like it's probably something new, like that we have people from another country coming over to try to get somebody elected. That's bananas.
I think even Starmer went over there himself.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
hence
why Trump just did that nice little snub there with Israel and Hamas.
Oh yeah, let's listen to the quick 20-second edit here, guys, and just remember, this is why he calls them the enemy of the people, because look at the narrative that this whole thing set up, where you literally had almost half of the country thinking that all of the Republicans were these violent people, which was clearly not the case. But here we go, 20 seconds.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
Wow, that sounds a little different. And we're going to fight. I'm going to be there with you. And versus, we're just going to cheer them on. So, Mac, that's, he keeps winning, pretty much every case that he goes out there for recently. So I don't see how this is going to be much different from the rest. But any thoughts on this one?
He's obviously going to win. But this would be, I think, the start of a huge domino effect of accountability for the fake news media, because they helped perpetrate the stealing of the 2020 election, like Lisa's saying. There was the actual stealing. There's the people that organized it. There's the people that did it. And there's people that sold it to the American people. So the fake news media, all of them are complicit. Even Fox News. Even, I think, Newsmax, they all announced the election, and they didn't do journalism correctly. They didn't question anything. It's blatantly obvious that Mike Pence should have sent back the electorate votes back to the states, especially when states were requesting it. So, it's just a tumble effect. Everything's included into this snowball effect, and the fake news media helped sell the jabs to everyone too, and made you feel like it was the end of the world if you didn't take one. So I'm curious how this is all going to be handled, because this is just the very tip.
Well, the Governor General has resigned, Tim Davey. He's been in the job running the BBC for a long while, and I think the head of news, somebody Turness, she has resigned as well already, And all of the other issues that they've had to deal with where they've done this type of thing, they've got away with it by saying, oh, it was an error of judgment, or it was just a mistake, and we'll just apologize and all of that. But this time, the top people have resigned. So he's definitely got a case. He's definitely got a case. And the chairman, that Sami Ashar, or whatever his name is, he's saying, well, if he wants to, I'm going to apologize to him personally. And, he is very litigious, but it's okay. We'll just apologize. And Trump should literally take them to court in England. You have already won. Because if you want to prove harm, they broadcast it to the rest of the world. And the BBC do broadcast worldwide. They even have, what's it called? I don't know if it's Al Jazeera. So there's some Middle East TV station that is owned by the BBC, And they do BBC Worldwide, and they do, what's the other one? There's another one that goes BBC World, or anyway, I can't remember it right now. Somebody will in the audience, just stick it into the channel if you will, or in the comments. But is it BBC? It's not BBC Worldwide. BBC World Service. It's all in the name. World Service. Yes, it's broadcast everywhere. And Panorama, they always do like excerpts from it, or repeat the program, all of the coverage. BBC, they've got BBC Radio 1, Radio 2, BBC Radio 3, BBC Radio 4, and then they've got the television, they've got BBC Online, and the rest that I've just mentioned. So no, that he can easily prove how much harm it did reputationally, as far as affecting his business, because they're calling him, they're making him out to be violent, and that he was the cause of January the 6th. And then also as far as how it affected the election. How many people didn't vote because that's what they thought, which, as Mike said, it's like a conspiracy. It went along with what the Democrats were pushing. Yes, and it went along with what the deep state were pushing. And there's the BBC. It was just an error of judgment.
Whoopsie daisy.
Yeah, right.
Well, the funny thing is, too, I was a little in the dark about this. Like, I thought it was about original reporting. And so I'm going to read a little bit of this letter here regarding the demand to retract false and defamatory statements about the President of the United States. Dear all, this law firm serves as litigation counsel for President Donald J. Trump, hereinafter referred to as President Trump. Please direct all future correspondence to this matter to my attention. This correspondence serves as the demand under Florida Statute 770.011 that you immediately retract the false, defamatory, disparaging, and inflammatory statements made about President Trump, which were published in a Panorama documentary that was fabricated and aired on the BBC, or by the BBC. Failure to comply will leave President Trump with no choice but to pursue any and all legal rights and remedies available to recover damages for the overwhelming financial and reputational harm that the BBC has caused him to suffer, with all rights and remedies being expressly reserved by President Trump. In the Panorama documentary titled Trump: A Second Chance, which was first broadcast on October 28th, interesting date there, Q drop Delta, of 2024. So last year, at the end of the year, a week before the 2024 United States presidential election. Interesting. BBC intentionally sought to completely mislead its viewers by splicing together 3 separate parts of President Trump's speech to supporters on January 6th. Documentary showed President Trump, we're going to fight, blah, 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 blah. This fabricated depiction of President Trump was false and defamatory, given that President Trump's actual and full remarks were, quote, we're going to walk down, be there with you. We're going to walk down, and we're going to walk down any one of you. But I think right here, we're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. Moreover, the BBC edited out Trump saying, quote, I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Thus, as set forth in an internal whistleblower memo, the BBC segment maliciously made it appear that President Trump said things he never actually said by editing together footage from the start of the speech with separate quote early an hour later. Due to their salacious nature, the fabricated statements that were aired by BBC have been widely disseminated throughout various digital mediums, which have reached tens of millions of people worldwide. Consequently, the BBC has caused President Trump to suffer overwhelming financial and reputational harm. Words are defamatory. I'm going to see if there's anything. Even if, like you said here, Lisa, even if the BBC attempts to whitewash its conduct as simply an expression of its opinions, Florida lawmakers clear that such a defense will not absolve its liability. See Dershowitz versus cable news networks. See also Milkovich versus Lorraine. Even if those speaker states the facts upon which he bases his opinion, if those facts are either incorrect or incomplete, or if his assessment of them is erroneous, the statement may still imply a false assertion of fact. Simply couching statements in terms of opinion does not dispel these implications. A statement that, although ostensibly in the form of an opinion, implies the allegation of undisclosed defamatory facts as the basis for the opinion is actionable. Consequently, the BBC lacks any viable defense to the overwhelming reputational and financial harm it caused President Trump to suffer. I mean, right before the election, you're messing with the elections. You're also messing with, I mean, how many court cases, stemmed off of all of these things, right? Like, could you bring all those things in there? Like, you had all these people that were basically arrested fraudulently, during the tour. I would call it they had a tour. Yeah, some people were violent, but I bet you once we go back and check the record and see the people that were violent, I bet you those were mostly plants. I'm not going to say all, because we do have mob mentality where people get all kind of amped up when other people around them are doing certain things. So this is very bad for them, and I hope he absolutely owns them. But at the end of the day, like we've talked about before, Lisa, who are the bad guys at the end of the day, right? We always say that one country always gets the bad rap, but then other people will contend that your country, the country that we left, air quotes, left in the late 1700s, is actually the big bad final boss. So I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out. But I think he deserves some dough, and I think he will win.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's ex-BBC presenter that has just won a defamation case against a footballer called Joey Barton. And Joey Barton said online that this guy was a paedophile and about grooming people and all of that. And the presenter won. Yeah, the presenter won. And Joey Barton repeated those allegations a number of times and asked his followers, of which he's got probably, thousands upon thousands, because he was a famous footballer at one stage. But he was getting sentenced before Christmas, and he will be sentenced and he will be fined, for defamation. So the BBC is like, unfortunately, when President Trump sues the BBC, it's the taxpayer that's paying, because we pay for the BBC, And Boris Johnson, the ex-prime minister, he's saying that he was withholding his license fee until the BBC apologize and deal with what they said about President Trump. It's the same Boris Johnson that installed somebody that was head of the BBC before Tim Davie, who happened to be the guy who worked at a bank where Boris Johnson got a couple of loans and mortgages.
Yeah, and Mac, we remember that Boris Johnson literally went over to Ukraine and put the kibosh in the peace deal that they were having over there too. So I know you unmuted, yeah. Mac. Any comments? Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, let's not forget Executive Order 13848. Foreign interference in an election. So if this, they find this to be guilty, this would directly apply to that executive order. Now, you've talked about how these executive orders can be made into law, correct?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. So you need a supermajority.
We covered that. Yeah. So now with the filibuster, couldn't that be a trump card in getting a lot of this stuff into law?
Oh yeah.
And
absolutely.
That'd be very, very interesting. And then the Democrats would be having a conniption, but we'll see what happens.
Well, the executive orders, I thought, given their nature, they are applicable across the rest of the world, because America decides what it wants to do. And the foreign interference, that isn't just foreign interference of somebody who's on American soil. That's worldwide, isn't it?
That's what I'm confused about. I've looked into this.
No, it is.
And, I'm asking AI right now, but I thought Congress had to approve it, and then that's when it becomes. They're not laws, but they care. I'll send you.
They're actionable. You know, just like the PEDs, they're actionable.
Oh, they definitely
but it does say foreign interference, but it doesn't explicitly say foreign interference by somebody who's on American soil. It just says foreign interference. You know.
Well, here's the thing.
On that.
Here's the thing about those, Lisa, and this is the funny part, because like I've been saying, like, man, I wish we could get a supermajority in here so we can change some of these executive orders into laws, so that we can stop the whole thing of, oh, Democrat president wrote this executive order, Republican came in and wrote this one. But the kicker is, as I know everybody listening knows, and I know Mac and Lisa know very well as well, which is there's a couple, if not more, if not many more, of these executive orders that somehow, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, got revamped every single year under Biden. Huh. Funny how that works, isn't it? So,
yeah.
You know, I think we're watching.
I think you're right, Lisa. It's different than like a federal law, and there's certain ramifications and qualifications for it. But I think it's totally able to be used. That's what I was confused about.
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard that Congress had to pass it, but I think you're right.
No, yeah, they're absolutely actionable until you have another president come in.
Correct.
And say,
I was just about to say that. Yeah, I think Biden tried to do that, but
I'm telling you, dude, that's where we're going.
But he didn't do it for that one or 13818 either. That was the other one.
Isn't that interesting?
That was human trafficking, crimes against humans.
You know, the very important ones that, like, you know, you would think would be the ones that they would want not passed the most, you know what I mean? Or you would think they would be the first two that they got rid of.
What was that? What was that? That mayor you played? Did you play it earlier? The one who went to the UN. Trying to reverse engineer an executive order and actual laws in the United States.
Oh yeah, I think.
And international laws.
The mayor of Chicago.
Well, I was just going to let you play it rather than say
this. Yeah, this is just crazy, guys. I mean, think about this. Like, and you know, I reposted this and put a comment to it. And my comment is, we won't even need to call in the military. And I just put hashtag behind every blade of grass. So you'll understand what I'm talking about once you hear Brendan Johnson, you know, in my opinion, go with his nuclear option.
Mayor Brandon Johnson is asking the United Nations to intervene to stop your operations. Here is what he said before the UN Human Rights Council. Listen to this.
The federal government's immigration enforcement has been marked by violence and an assault on the dignity of all Chicagoans. I call on this council to hold the federal government of the United States to the same standards of accountability you apply elsewhere in the world. No country should be above international law. I urge the Human Rights Council to consider additional measures of accountability, including a special session to examine the worsening human rights crisis in the United States.
Tom, this is just pure lunacy, but what is your reaction to all of that?
He just proved he's not that smart, right? I mean, asking the United Nations to interfere with ICE enforcing U.S. law, it's like asking an arsonist how to stop a fire. Because the UN, remember, the IOM, the part of the UN, helped fund the mass migration during the Biden administration 4 years, spending millions upon millions of dollars helping that migration, international migration, come to the United States. So, you know, the United Nations is not going to tell President Trump what to do. President Trump was put in office on the promise of making this country safe again, on the promise of having the historic deportation operation. That's exactly what America is getting. Every criminal alien ICE and Border Patrol takes off the street makes this country safer. We have the most secure border in the history of the nation right now because of leadership of President Trump, the men and women of the Border Patrol, and because ICE. What ICE is doing in the interior every day, they've sent a message across the globe. Don't spend your life savings, cross the border illegally, think you're going to get away in the United States. Because of what ICE is doing, people aren't spending their life savings, putting themselves in harm's way. Thousands of people aren't dying making that journey. Thousands of Americans aren't dying from fentanyl because that's...
Oh, so what do you think of the United Nations coming in?
I feel like this is just such a white hat operation. This mayor seems so fake, but it's obviously the narrative that I think has been going on is they're exposing the light onto the problem.
Yes.
To ask the United Nations, well, like Tom Homan said, they're responsible for the mass migrations and probably more. United Nations doesn't seem to be innocent in this and all this at all. And I've been saying from the beginning that the NGOs came from the United Nations, so it's probably directed from their agendas because they're the ones that enforce them. So, this is getting very interesting, and I can't wait to see what the next steps are to uncover more of this grand conspiracy that's been going on to stealing the 2020 election and more.
Yeah, it's and Lisa, before I give you the floor, I just wanted to kind of remind folks out there of what we've been dealing with, right, for the last many years. And I'm just going to list out a couple of things really quickly that happen to be coming all back into the fold lately, right? The whole gerrymandering thing, the voter rolls. We have obviously the 2020 election, even the latest election there in 24. January 6th, Crossfire Hurricane, Arctic Frost, like all of these things just happen to be coming back right now. And then, of course, these people are like folding like origami, like, we don't know what to do. Can we bring in the United Nations? Like, what's going on? I think these guys are very panicked right now. But, all of these different things are just creeping back into our timeline again. I find that very interesting, but don't want to take you off of your whatever your thought was there.
Yeah, I just think that the United Nations, they're probably thinking, oh no, don't come to us, don't say that. Didn't they have enough when Trump spoke at the United Nations, when he told them, where he talked about that. I mean, if you just go back to that speech, it's like, and you think the United Nations are going to react, and it's like, and also, do you think that the United Nations law trumps the American Constitution? I don't think so. Do you think that the Supreme Court are going to allow somebody else to define what the Constitution means? I don't think so. He's trying to reverse engineering it. It's like, look, Trump already took America out of what did they want to do? The International Criminal Court. So that would have meant that the UN can go on American soil, arrest people, and jail people. And Trump said no. Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
You're not doing that here. They can't do that. It's not relevant. They don't have jurisdiction in the United States for the International Criminal Court. So
Real
that's
quick.
Another thing.
Yeah, if
go ahead.
Trump wasn't president, that was the deep state's plan, was to have the UN then police us as well for the New World Order. So you got to also be thankful and look back on these and understand where the deep state was really trying to plot here. They're really evil. So thank God for Trump, and thank God for us patriots, recognizing this stuff and being able to get this all lined up, and thank God for our military.
Absolutely. Let's play this little clip here. And actually, before it disappears, thank you so much to Micro Toolmaker, who dropped out 10 subscriptions to the channel and a $55 Rumble rant saying, where we go one, we go all. Appreciate that, Mr. Micro Toolmaker. And this is pretty funny, guys. We'll just let it play, and then I'll read the comments, which is pretty funny.
Donald Trump just dropped a political bomb. He wants to end the Senate filibuster. But what's a filibuster? It's when senators talk to delay or block a vote on a law. To stop it, the Senate needs 60 votes. Trump says it slows down progress and keeps the government stuck. He's calling for the nuclear option, pass laws with just 51 votes. He says this could end the government shutdown and speed things up. But critics warn it gives too much power to one party. Since one party rarely wins over 60 seats, supporters say the filibuster forces compromise and stops extreme reforms. If Trump ends it, Washington may never work the same again. Do you think ending it is smart or risky? Tell us.
All right, now let me set you. I'll ask Lisa first, and then Mac, because we'll switch it up each time. So here we have a situation where you can go the quote nuclear option and make it so, well, hey, 51 votes is a majority, and that gets the vote pushed across. You don't need the 60. And then on the other hand, people are going to say, yeah, but what happens if you get the other side comes in, right? What happens in 4 years if a Democrat gets in? Then they can do the same thing. So I would say, okay, at that point, what we all need to do is take a step back and then take a few more steps back to, like, say, the 40,000 foot view, right? And then say, do you not think this man right here who's kissing this flag has no clue about the type of hot water he would be in, and a lot of us as well? Our lives would be, made more miserable. But his life, his staff, his family, everybody that is within that, they're cooked, right? Come 4 years from now, if something radically isn't done, and I mean radically as far as fix the country the way it should be fixed, then if we don't do that and it does get into their hands, then we are screwed. But I would contend with that 51 vote nuclear option, we can pass the sort of things we were just talking about, my dream of getting to have 60 votes on our side and a majority in Senate, right? So that was like my dream. So now if we can get these things passed through and then have, another almost 3 years under that watch, I feel like a lot of people would see a whole different United States of America at that point. So let's ask the person from UK first, and then we'll go to Mac. But Lisa, anything I just stated, it's all you.
Well, like I ever say.
I know, right?
I just think the Senate and the House could move very, very quickly in implementing reform and also innovation to solve a lot of issues. And that's all I'm going to say, because at the moment it is slowed down, very much slowed down. Longest government shutdown in history over something that really shouldn't even be on the table, which is funding illegal migrants. So, I want to hear what you've got to say, Mike, on that.
Yeah, so the nuclear option, I think, when you say it applies to the shutdown, it also applies to his nominations. So I think in this, he using the nuclear option for this, I think is because they're literally holding the country hostage. It's shown by the shutdown. We're fixing the country. We're going to fix the elections so they're fair and honest. So then the real people begin to speak. We saw the map the last election, how red it was. It probably more red than that. And it just happens when they cheat elections. So like you said, Spacia, I think I know what he's doing. He has a plan. It's not like it hasn't been used before. It was used in 2013 to lower the cloture threshold. Am I saying that right? CLOTURE threshold for most presidential nominations to a simple majority. And again in 2017 to extend this change to Supreme Court nominations. It relies on a parliamentary procedure where a point of order is raised, appealed, and then overturned by a majority vote, thereby establishing a new precedent. So, he has every right to do it. I just don't understand what's going on in the background. Trump obviously has a plan. We don't get to see it that much of anything that goes on in the background. Is he just making deals? Are people squealing? I don't know. It's really, I guess. That's funny.
Had to throw in a funny. Sorry. But yeah, no. I mean, it's great, dude. I mean, I feel like, I feel like they've war gamed this stuff so many times and probably ran it through, AI and maybe AIs that actually work rather than the crap that they give us. Because, dude, I don't know if anybody's, I should actually do a video one day on fact checking AI because it is so bad. Like, I asked it the other day, an NFL question, Mac. You'll love this. I was like, hey, who is such and such playing? They're like, oh, they're playing the Chargers this week. I'm like, they don't even play them this year. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's information that it gives you. Like, yep, here's what it is. And it's like, no, it's not even close. Limited. Very bad.
Very limited. If you take a look at the chat, I said that earlier that it seems like a white hat operation out of Chicago. The guy does look like he's been in the military before. He's got some jailish glasses that he wears all the time because there's clear and they're black ones.
This one
now
here?
Talk about Jasmine Crockett.
Oh, yeah.
Listen to what she has to say about the Dominion voting machines. Now, come on, guys. Like this. Now we're exposing the voting machines to the left. And they're going to be calling for it too, just like the Epstein stuff. Remember the strategy that's been going on.
All right, let's listen to Jasmine Crockett, Crap here, the fake wannabe hood rat, but her parents were actually really rich. And oh God, who was the other guy? Mark Elias, formerly of the Crossfire Hurricane situation. Remember, this guy on the left has been in this since the beginning, so he has a lot of skin in the game. Let's just leave it at that.
We do know that one of his friends has purchased Dominion. So it's going to be really important for us to educate all states that we can to make sure that their Secretary of States are like, we don't want the Dominion machines. Because I personally believe that ally purchased Dominion so that he could potentially play with the machines, because we know that they're trying to cheat by changing the lines for the midterms. And I think that they're trying to solidify their cheat potentially with the voting machines. We do know.
Talk about calling the kettle black here.
No kidding.
They know they can cheat with the voting machines, but yet they denied everything. And notice her forehead. It looks like she's wearing a mask. Like
Look at his face. He looks like he's dying to burst into laughter. He knows.
Yeah.
Look at that face.
Yeah.
I know this is funny as hell, and I'm going to stop myself from laughing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got one to tack onto this one too. I put this in my notes, I think, quite a few days ago, so may not be the newest or freshest, maybe 3 or 4 days old. Let's see, what we got? November 5th, actually. So I just thought this was worth mentioning, seeing as Mac brought up Jasmine Crockett crap. Watchdog files ethics complaint against Rep. Crockett over financial disclosures. Interesting that something would be with financial disclosures and her, playing the whole I'm Miss Urban when my parents sent me to, what was it, a $50,000 per semester school or something crazy like that. But yeah, thought that was worth showing really quickly. And you never know, like some of these people that are so above and beyond, maybe they are on our side as well too, Mac. Like you just never know.
That are controlled in some way. Like it's just so outrageous for her to say that, knowing the controversy that's been behind it, and it's classic Democrat. Like, hey, we know what's up, but we're not going to say it.
Yeah.
And we know how to use it.
The Democrats have said it all before, Mike. They've said it on video. Everybody from Kamala Harris right the way through about the machines and about how the machines can be hacked. They've all made their statements on camera. So it's kind of nothing new, They've always been at that point. They just seem to deny it whenever a Republican says it, But between themselves and in the Senate, they've all said about the machines can be hacked.
Oh yeah,
and control. And she's actually admitting to it, so it's kind of a good thing. And that's their Achilles heel, like the facts,
That's
so,
what makes it funny.
Yeah, she's supporting the facts. And the thing is, he's only just bought it in the last couple of months, They've owned them for how many years? How many years?
That's great. Who is this guy? Is this Elijah Schaefer? Because this is like 5 days old. Yeah, Kash Patel is suing Elijah Schaefer for calling his girlfriend a Israeli spy. Okay. So yeah, this is just, this person putting, make no mistake about it, this is why they get up in the morning and shut down, was them earning their keep. So this is all the money that these people are making from these lobbyist groups here. The healthcare subsidy scam, which we know a lot of this was based on the healthcare, that they want to give a bunch of illegals healthcare, and they don't want to make a fair system for the American people. And I was listening to one of these things, like the local low-income insurance thing. It's called Healthcare Rhode Island. It's like, oh, we have a 97%, re-sign up rate, and I'm thinking, yeah, because people don't have any other option, because you're the low man on the totem pole, the lowest, payment in the bucket. Of course they're going to go with you because they have to. So yeah, this is just, these people just making money hand over foot is just so scummy. And did you guys hear about Nancy Pelosi again today? They'd be maybe looking into her stock trades and whatnot. And I did it years ago with my friend, with my son, and it turns out that even if she was speaker for the whole time, to amass the amount of money that she would have to have made, she would have to have been the speaker, because the speaker makes like $223,000, whereas regular senators make like $170,000. She would have had to be the speaker for 595 years while not spending a dime to get the net worth that she has right now. And then we know that her, her voting record or her betting record is just, beyond crazy. So it's coming around, maybe, hopefully. Oh, and might as well, since I brought it up, guys. What did I say to you guys? What could go wrong? Well, actually, you know what? Let me bring this up, because I thought I left this link off, because like I mentioned before the show, guys, I got so many links in here. There's no possible way we will be able to get through everything. But let's just listen to a little half-a-minute clip here.
Pelosi reportedly raking in more than $130 million in profits from trading stocks during her 37 years in Congress. That's according to a new report by the New York Post. The former House Speaker saw a whopping return of nearly 17,000% while in office, outperforming the Dow. For taking office in 1987, a financial forum showed California Democrat and her husband reporting up to $785,000 worth of stocks in their portfolio. The report comes days after the 85-year-old announced she won't be seeking re-election.
Interesting. The same day that they had more of this information on the pipe bomber came out, she announces her retirement as well. And Mac, Lisa, did you happen to notice that her stock outperformed the Dow by, get this, just random number, 17,000%. Key number here, of course, being 17. Basically, she's been in the spotlight for quite some time, and I'm just going to bring on that next one for you guys, where I said, what could go wrong? Well, that's Nancy Pelosi, guys. Listen to this little ad. This new up-and-coming person coming in, I think, for Congress, but we'll see.
Hi, I'm Christine Pelosi, attorney, author, advocate,
the chairperson of the California Democratic Party Women's Caucus,
wife, mom, and today a candidate for California State Senate.
Oh, no.
I'm running to represent you, San Francisco, in Sacramento, fighting for consumer rights, women's rights, gun violence survivors, immigrants, and our most vulnerable communities against the threat we face.
Christine Pelosi is shaking up the sexual harassment debate in Sacramento.
What do we do when our freedoms are under attack? We speak up, we fight back, and we organize power for the people. And that's what I want to do for you.
Lisa, Christine Pelosi for State Senate. What could go wrong? I mean, oh God.
Just a little nepotism.
Oh my
God. Oh, give us a break from the family bloodline, Haven't we had enough? Haven't people had enough? But I know they're in California, they really do like to, keep things in the family,
Oh, yeah.
with Newsom being her, is it nephew or something, and the Gettys and Willie Brown and Kamala Harris, and oh my gosh. Say no more. I don't got anything to say.
And let's not forget, Mac, too, that she was the person filming on January 6th, a documentary of all things. I'm sorry, go ahead, buddy. My bad.
No, that's what I was just about to mention. She filmed Nancy admitting it was all her fault that National Guard didn't come in. I don't know how that's not submissible in any court case. And like Lisa said, nepotism, but what other way to pass along corruption than through the family? And then don't forget the family tree that we were pointed out through Q.
Yeah,
it was like the Newsom family, the Collin family, I think.
You got the Newsom, the Gettys, the Browns, and the
that was it.
Pelosi's, and geez, Feinstein's might be coming in.
And Pelosi's, was it great grandfather or grandfather, was the mayor of Baltimore, Maryland. So there's your mob connection.
Her father was big time mobbed up, and her brother, dude, her brother was Mr. Can't keep his hands to himself with the ladies. Yeah, if you look up that FBI vault, and guys, think about that. You guys remember how the FBI vault came out? Like during all the, I think it was during Trump's first president.
2021,
yeah, right? Was it right after?
2021?
Oh yeah, but I mean,
2021, I think it was.
It was before that, I think.
It was crazy though that it came out. It was just like bananas that they were like, oh, by the way, here you go. Here's a bunch of information on Nancy D'Alessandro and her father, whoever D'Alessandro. But you look through the reports and like the brother was like, yeah, basically groped some woman and did this, and they had to quiet it down. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but did you not read it properly? The dad or her, whatever, dad. He was involved in that. It's just that the others got charged and he was let off. And there was a reason. Well, I'm pretty sure that it was unsealed in January 2021.
Wow.
2020. It was January 2021. Not long after January the 6th, and Kennedy Sr. did not like him because he thought that he was bad. And obviously, because of his connections, he was let off. Somebody was raped, and he was let off, but the other ones got charged.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't just the brother.
And there was more than one of them in there too. I'll drop this out for anybody in the chat who would like to peruse them at your leisure later. Here you go for Rumble, FBI Vault link, and dropping them all the other places. So.
And Kennedy suspected him of doing some unacceptable things as well. That's why I didn't like him.
Like what? Stealing, adultery,
well, it was connections with the mob.
Drug use. Oh, okay.
Just connections with the mob, and then I don't know. Take your pick there.
And what is the mafia also control that's been in the news recently?
Ooh, little betting,
little gambling.
Yeah, the one where they don't seem to be mentioning the sports star that is injured at the moment. So he was mentioned, but then it seemed to get to the FBI, and we've had no mention of him, but everybody else has been mentioned. So my question is, where is his name in all of this? Because it has been connected, but for some reason the authorities aren't mentioning him.
Yeah, and you have to kind of look in the peripheral. I think hopefully I'm using that word right, but it's like, well, they basically are questioning this guy who was with the Cleveland Cavaliers and this guy who was on the Miami Heat, and it's like, well, wait, who played on the Miami Heat and the Cleveland Cavaliers and was good friends with one of the guys who was informing all of these people? Oh, LeBron James was. That's interesting. How about that? So yeah, they never came out and fully said it because remember, he's their cash cow. Ain't
no party like a Diddy party.
Ain't no party like a Diddy party because a Diddy party don't stop. All right, let's see what else we got here.
We had two baseball players that were caught, and NCAA players this past week in a separate gambling scheme that could have connections.
Damn, dude, I could solve it in 2 seconds. But go ahead, Lisa. Finish. Go ahead.
Is there not also some? Is he Japanese? Great baseball player at the moment, and some assistant of his got done for the gambling.
Oh, really?
Potentially, it's not the assistant. But did his translator really do it, or was it the person with the money to gamble?
Shohei Ohtani.
I wonder.
Most likely. I mean, they paying translators a lot of money. I don't know what they make.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, let's. What was I going to bring up? Oh, I'm going to bring up a funny. It's a little crude and a little sexually based. There's no sexual words in it. Well, there is if you use it in one respect, but it's not a sexual word. So if any young kids, you can give them the earmuffs. But somebody sent me this over, and I can't remember for the life of me at the time who did. But here we go, and I'll try to find credit. Oh, here we go.
Good morning, New York City. Remember how I told you a few months ago to stop sending us money? You can start again. Because we have an exciting new program we're starting in partnership with my dear friend, Assemblyman Lyle Culpepper.
Yes, we promised you lots of free stuff, but we need money to pay for that free stuff. And that's why we're launching Covered Income New York City.
Why should you have to earn your own income if the city can just cover it for you?
If you voted for us, you will get covered income.
Is this a Ponzi scheme? Yeah, kind of.
But isn't that just what socialism is?
I got covered income, and so can you.
Visit coverincome.com for more information and get covered income today.
I love the
program we're starting in partnership with Mike.
I love the little icon that came in. Let me see. Did he put it up on the board yet? I think it was back here. Here we go.
No, it's coming. It's not there yet.
Okay, yeah. The icon was just very fitting for this thing. Come on, where'd you go?
I think a few people might be put off saying the Lord's Prayer. You know, Thy kingdom come, not anymore after you've been covered income.
Oh my God! Yeah, hey, come to New York where you can get covered income. Oh my boy!
Yeah, that was me that sent that.
Was it? Yeah, I'm like I don't know. I'm putting stuff together. I'm just like, sometimes I'm frantic. Sometimes I put a little note in there. But
did you note the icon? Have you noted the icon?
Yeah. That's why I went back to find it.
Everything. I've duly noted. That's why I sent it in. I thought it was a well done meme.
That's right.
Yeah.
You wrote well done meme. And so I guess we'll pull this one up because I wasn't seeing this one coming on my bingo card, but I think there was ulterior motives for it. And let me see. Where is it? Did I not put it in these? There's no way I didn't put it in these. Wow. For some reason I didn't put this in this link, but hold on, I got like my old other half right here. I cannot believe the post that I'm about to see, but I think, again, as we're talking about it, I think it's going to be something that's an ulterior motive. And I'm going to have to go to the channel to find it because it's lost in my links, but I do know I brought it to you guys earlier. I was like, what are we doing here? Please hold 1 second, guys. Sorry about this. Yeah, here we go. To me, this is crazy anyways. So, never the biggest fan, but I'm going to read a little post from Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer. After spending this last week in Israel and along the Syrian border, I've reached a firm conclusion. Israel must end its dependence on U.S. aid, and the U.S. must end all aid to Israel. Like, holy mind blown. So if you're looking at it, outwardly, I'll continue reading because I'm seeing ulterior motives. Please put your comments in the chat to what you think the ulterior motives here are. She says, I truly hope by the end of the Trump administration and by the beginning of a new administration in 2028, we see zero aid flowing to Israel. U.S. taxpayers currently send $3.8 billion annually to Israel, and in return, we get roughly $48 billion back through defense contracts, pharmaceuticals, and technology. The math is clear, but military aid itself serves as a golden handcuff on Israel and a constant source of agitations for Americans that has manifested into a distraction from domestic policy, even though our investment directly serves the interests of U.S. national security through counterterrorism and shared intelligence in the Middle East. True America First policy means we stop dictating to a sovereign nation how to run its government and military, and that we stop telling Israel how to respond to Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah. Cut the U.S. aid and Israel becomes fully sovereign. America First means we don't tell other countries how to govern or neutralize threats. America First means we don't get to tell Israel not to eradicate Hamas or not to bomb nuclear facilities. It means we don't get to tell the Mossad to not kill the Ayatollah when he's hiding in a bunker. America First means the U.S. no longer gets to dictate to Israel how they manage their nuclear arsenal. America First means liberation from being a global babysitter. Once the aid to Israel ends, the Pentagon's leash comes off. Israel's wars become Israel's wars. We lose the leverage to urge restraint on bombing Iran or eradicating Hamas. We lose the ability to tell Israel not to blah, 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 blah. All right, so, I can go back and, she's kind of just repeating himself at this point. But, Mac, we'll go with you first on this point. I didn't expect to see this, but again, I'm seeing more than just what's being put out here.
I just see so much into this. It's ridiculous. One, she wants to head this narrative, it's a Laura Loomer idea. Meanwhile, people have probably suggested this many times. We've questioned why we're paying them the billions of dollars. I remember Lisa talking about it a while back, but she's kind of also using Israel and then referencing herself in the we part of Israel instead of the United States. I don't know if you saw that. It was kind of strange. It's like, so she's kind of exposing herself in my mind as a Zionist, because it reads so weird. You could read it in a couple different ways the way she's worded it. And it sounds like she's looking out, but I think there's ulterior motives definitely with her. Well, I'll leave it there. I know Lisa probably's got on point.
What do you got, Ms. Lisa? And I'm going to read some comments after you, but go ahead.
Well, she says about if Israel want to bomb Hamas, then let them bomb Hamas or something like that.
Yeah.
But what she's also saying is that when Israel want to bomb Qatar for no real good reason, or anybody else when they kind of lose it a little bit, then that's okay. And it's like, there would be World War III, 4, 5, and 6.
There it is. Thank you.
And destabilization of the Middle East if Israel were left to their own devices.
Well,
That's all I've got to say.
Let me ask you this, Lisa, and then Mac afterwards. Do you think that once they, air quotes, cut ties and they don't have America on their back, are they going to be the same bully and go out there and be like, you know what, these people don't, even though we're not part of the, independent committee to, check our nukes, we believe that other countries like Iran are, and so therefore we're going to start this war with Iran. Are they going to do stuff like that if they don't have us backing them?
Well, their backs would be against the wall, and Israel has the mentality that it will fight. So absolutely, with or without America, because they're in the Middle East. That's for them. It's like, they're surrounded by. They've got a 360-degree surround. Yes. They're in the middle of the Middle East. This is not like being somewhere in Europe or America or South America. They're in the middle of the Middle East, basically a European country in the middle of the Middle East. All the other countries are Middle Eastern countries. Do you know what I mean? Africa and all of that. It's like, no, I don't think so. I think they'd have to fight like hell, and they probably would. And they would go for it. I mean, let's remember the story of where they got their nuclear power from anyway. I think it was stolen from somewhere like Pennsylvania in America. It was stolen from America in the first place. Yes?
Yeah, we built the Iron Dome. So it's our technology.
Well, the nuclear that they've got, I'm saying, was stolen by Israel from America. Yeah. If you look at the history, and that's how they became a nuclear power. So no, they've got that nuclear power. Can't be taken back. They've got it. So I think that they need to be kept in check.
Exactly.
Because they are prone to react and start things when they're left to their own devices. I think it would probably be worse because they'd be fighting for their lives, literally.
Yeah, and they'd still be asking for our help and stuff. So, and they can. The thing about Israel, and they've bragged about it, is that they've infiltrated all countries of they consider worthy. So they can create false flag events. They're Mossad. They're pretty good at it from Rumorville. They create narratives. You remember the guy talking that was an ex-Mossad agent? We're the storytellers, recreate stories, movies. So, that has to be also kept in check. So I think in the intelligence agency world, the behind the scenes, there's a lot going on. And Israel
Yes.
cannot just be left alone to do whatever they want, because that just isn't the way they're set up. They're a military nation. They're occupied. They're not even a sovereign nation. She's asking for them to be a sovereign nation. There's a reason why they're military occupied till this day. So until that gets explained, maybe we should not listen to Laura.
I agree.
And Mac, haven't you got a video that goes with this? You put it in the channel.
You'd have to.
You don't have to. You don't just tell it. No, just have a look at the video that you've got. You sent it to me. Of the guy speaking with the yarmulke on.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to go into what it is, so that people can just play it, Mac. I don't want to say.
Yeah,
it's a nice
Screenshot has it in the channel, in the chat.
You should just point out which one it is, and then
throw me an ad. I'm gonna play a little video here, but I'm gonna have to read this, and this is something that again, I'm kind of mind blown.
I just threw it to you.
All right, let's look at that quick so we can keep on the kind of same train of thought here. We'll get to that first here. Oh, let's see.
I want to read.
It says, according to Grok, this is a recent update on October 7th. Appears Israel has an enemy within problem. Grok says the video highlights recent events. All right, and I'll just let it play. This actually might be what I was about to play here. Let's see.
You a message that the Hamas released yesterday. The speaker of the Hamas, we are willing to reveal all the Zionists that cooperated with us on October 7 and helped us with this attack. We want in return 60 days of rest. The report of how many people from within government and command helped us to attack Israel, the land in Israel will shake like an earthquake. The biggest enemies of the Jewish nation is not enemies from outside, is enemies from within. These Erev Rav, who control everything in Israel, cooperate with the enemies, hating Judaism, hating the religion. If you follow Israeli news, you're not gonna believe what's happening. The Attorney General of the Israeli army, an extreme lefty woman, she's in the highest rank. The next rank above her is the chief of command. She could be in charge of the entire army. What happened with this trader? She took the car, they were coming to arrest her. But the other Attorney General, the national one, who was even worse than her, there's nobody she hates more than Hashem and the religious people. She on purpose did not sign the arrest to investigate her, to give her a few hours that she can hide the evidence. And she went to some beach in Israel and threw her cell phone into the water. Hours, and she faked that she committed suicide. She left her car with a note, and everybody was looking for a body everywhere, to give her enough time to hide everything she needed to hide, because in her phone there is information about all the lefty traders that cooperate with the enemies in Israel. They're all connected to each other, so they made already a few arrests. What's going to happen in the next few days? You're going to see dozens of spies and enemies that are in the highest position of power in Israel that are helping the enemies to destroy us. Forget about that they fight the yeshivot and they torture all the bachurei yeshivot. For years they do it. Of course, that's a part of what they hate. But literally cooperating with the enemies.
That is a great, dude. That is a great video, Mac, and I'm super glad that you grabbed that one right now, because I'm going to follow that up with something I'm going to have to read.
I couldn't believe my ears when I heard that. Now I had to research to make sure it was like true, and Grok confirmed that it was. So, pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's this whole AI thing. People don't understand how much more difficult it makes our job to do, because you got a lot of people out there, and just so everybody knows too. there's been I don't know have you guys seen this thing on Telegram? So that was my first issue. Like, especially things on Telegram that you're not seeing anywhere else. You guys need to kind of keep your eye out about. But I've seen a lot of people basically putting out a thing where Trump is pardoning, a proclamation where he's pardoning all these people. And I went to the proclamation thing on the website for that date, and there was something about, terrorists or something like that, but it wasn't anything to do with this. So it does make our job more difficult because we have to verify that these things are kind of legitimate before we go and put them out. But let me pop this one up here. This is actually RT, and this is from 9 hours ago. This is bananas. Let me see here. Make sure I got the screen. So I'm gonna read this, guys. This is actually today. This happened today. I'm gonna put the sound down, and I'm gonna read in her, and I'm gonna let you, I'm gonna let you hear her for the first 10 seconds, just so you can hear the passion or the anger in her voice, and then I'll read it all for you.
אני מאשימה אותך, בנימין נתניהו. מאשימה אותך בטבח ה-7 באוקטובר. האסון הגדול ביותר שידעה המדינה קרה במשמרתך.
Sounds a little angry to me. Let's take the audio off, and then I'll read it again here, guys. He says, I accuse you, Benjamin Netanyahu. I accuse you of the October 7th massacre. The greatest disaster the country has ever known happened on your watch. Even if you sleep with a clear conscience, we will not forget. We will cry out against the abandonment. A state commission of inquiry must be established. I accuse you, Benjamin Netanyahu, of funding Hamas, funding terrorists. Hold on. She's going quick here. And turning a blind eye, the existential threat to us, of abandoning the security of the state as a policy. Security is not a political tool. You hear? It is above everything. I accuse you, Netanyahu, of turning the working and the serving public into the Messiah's donkey. You created the alliance of draft dodging and annexation. The bravery of the fighters has disappeared from your sight, but not from ours. It is the light with which we will rebuild. I accuse you, Netanyahu. Your personal corruption has become national plague. Every corrupt person, oh God, that was quick, hold on. Every corrupt person becomes your partner. The bigger you file you have on someone, the more convenient they are for you. One-man trial has taken an entire country hostage. I accuse you, Netanyahu, because you forgot what it means to be Jewish. Trump brought back the hostages in your place while you, no matter what, were busy trying to get him to pardon you. Dozens of hostages were murdered and killed in captivity while you failed to fulfill the commandment of redeeming. That was quick. The captives, conscience. Oh, here we go. Blah, blah, blah. While you failed to fulfill the commandment of redeeming captives, consciousless, and godless. I accuse you, Netanyahu. Racism has always served you. You tore us apart from within. You turned the nation, half the nation, into an enemy. So Netanyahu, I, the Moroccan, the traditional woman from Migdal HaEmek, tell you, we will break the walls you built. We will cleanse the poison you've poured here for 30 years. We will return to being a united society. I accuse you, Netanyahu. Citizens are being murdered here as if they are dust. Governance, yeah, right. When Likud operates like a crime organization, crime organizations rise up. I accuse you, Netanyahu, yes, of sacrificing life itself. People are utterly broken. Keeps going, yeah. Broken under the economic... Why are we slowing down here? Reality. That's pretty crazy. And we've had other people in the, what do they call that? The Knesset, go after him and talk about him. And she brought up a point about, when Trump was there, essentially, hey, maybe I should pardon him. And then this one says, Netanyahu seems to threaten the entire political party after several members criticize his Knesset speech. We will see if Yesh Atid has a future, he says, as they're dragging outside. So, I don't even know who I went with first. Lisa, pretty interesting over there. And, some people are saying, well, they have their deep state just like the United States has their deep state. And some people would contend that Bibi is a good guy and he's just like a Trump. And then other people would contend that he is the antithesis of that and he is the bad guy. But anything you want to say on all of that was laid out, that was pretty crazy.
One word, Qatar.
Wait, what?
Qatar, not Qatar that you get in your throat, Qatar with a Q. As in, there's evidence of a letter that's written by Netanyahu regarding the payments and all of that. And then he bombed Qatar, didn't he? So, that's all I'll say. Qatar.
Oh my, yeah, she makes a good point there, Mac. In the letter she's talking about, well, he's got an excuse for that one, Mac. It's basically, we were giving Hamas money because we wanted Hamas to be running essentially Palestine, right? And so we wanted the bad guys to be running things, so we knew that we'd be able to, split them, the Hamas from the Palestinians, and that was the way, pay somebody a lot of money. That always seems to work, right? Oh my God.
Yeah, it would appear that Netanyahu is part of the old guard. So
I would agree.
Just like Israel's government has said it has a deep state, he's probably got his people in place that followed his old guard style. And I think we're seeing that in the United States being withered away. We got some old people in office. It's crazy. And Pelosi not running now. So
Yes.
I think we're going to see a definite change in the tides with some real patriots. And also Netanyahu is a Rothschild from what Lisa's told me and his bloodline lineage. So he's not a very good guy.
Last name's like Malkovich or something like that, isn't it, Lisa?
From Poland, Polish.
Yeah, it's Polish. But the other thing is to investigate the testimony of the soldiers, remember, who said that they were told to stand down on October the 7th for a number of hours. And that was when Hamas attacked. So maybe, either there's an investigation that'll prove that he did the right thing or the wrong thing was done.
Yes.
So maybe there should be an investigation, given there's that many people that confirm that, from the head of some internal security organization or intelligence organization, Ehud Barak, the previous person in his position. Is it Ehud Barak?
Yeah, the prime minister. The other one that was with Epstein.
So he's testified, and it's not so good for Netanyahu. Head of an intelligence agency, internal, and also soldiers as well, and a couple of other people. So maybe there ought to be an investigation, even if it's just to clear up the confusion.
Yes, and I got to read a couple of these because it's so friggin' funny. Just to clear it up, Casey Bowser, and I put it on the chat there. BB's last name equals Mile or Milikowski, M-I-L-E Kowski, K-O-W-S-K-I. And where was the other funny one? There was one really funny one here. God, I lost it, of course, because that's moving. Oh, here we go. Nomad Q1745 says, end congressional hospice. I agree. Even Chuck Grassley's older than dirt, right? He's on our side, but still, they don't need to be in there for that long. Definitely.
Hey, Space Shot in the chat. Jim Brewer, of all people, actually did a little. It's about a minute long about October 7th, and I think he makes some valid points through humor and his style.
And guys, just so everybody knows, this guy, he's does not smoke marijuana, and his eyes just look like this. And
anymore, he used to.
Oh, did he used to? Yeah, okay. Because I remember him doing
during
stand up.
Half Baked with him and hanging out with Chappelle. Chappelle smoked a lot back then. So,
and he goes, "Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. My eyes just look like this." But here we go.
This is October 7th, so nobody saw this come with all its defense missiles, because they know Hamas is all over the Strip. They know Hamas is in Qatar. They know Hamas is everywhere they bombed. They know it was not even in Qatar. It was a certain building. That's how brilliant Israel is. But yet, on October 7th, they didn't see the monkeys flying in with the parachutes. Nobody look here. Are you kidding me? I'd be pissed. If I was from Israel, I'd be like, should we call the police? There's go-karts with parachutes. Are they with us? There's go-karts with parachutes. Should we be notifying people? I mean, didn't we just get $650 million from America? You blew it. You can't see this coming with $650 million, not even talking about all the other money that we've given you. Then you lose it. You lost it. If I give you $8 and you can't make a steak sandwich that I ordered, well, guess what? You ain't getting any more money. It's that simple.
They didn't see the monkeys. Boonch, boonch, boonch. That's true. I mean, you know, I've played it numerous times. The woman saying, "Listen, I used to work for the military," and I've talked about it ad nauseum at this point. Like, she would have to go to the border to reset the alarm because a friggin' insect would send it off. But no, these guys just, you know, no problem. They just go right over. Nobody sees anything. Nobody says anything for 7 friggin' hours, right? And at this point, Mac, Lisa, I'm almost like to the point where I'm starting to like think, are they just like escalating every one of these quote scenarios and just seeing like how ridiculous they can make them and say like, how ridiculous can we make this situation in Israel and see if anybody like stands up and does anything about it, right? And then like the whole Charlie Kirk situation, the same thing, like all these different things with all of these factors and points that don't add up to the official narrative. It's like, are they just testing us to see how dumb like the people at large are? It kind of feels that way to me at this point.
Or I think you're onto something. They could be testing the factions that are against those people that you just mentioned, or others. So they could be monitoring them through surveillance. But go ahead, Lisa.
Social listening, yeah.
Oh, I just really. My summation is that things like this have been happening since time immemorial, and we just haven't noticed. You know, how many wars have been started? How many? You know, how many times have the American military gone into a country where it's like, over what? You know, weapons of mass destruction, no central bank run by the Rothschilds. These are just so-called quote unquote reasons for war that just keep repeating themselves throughout history. Yeah. Think about it. You know, for me, it's like it's nothing new. This is what happens when people want to start a war, and they always want to start a war. Mike, what about that document that you asked me to find? You know, the guy that's predicted about 10 wars and never been wrong. And It's not that he is telepathic or can see into the future or got some special powers. All he did was analyze what these factions do and how they do it. And they repeat the same thing year on year, era after era, you know, war after war. They find a way to start it. Think about the Civil War that you got into in America. You think you did that on your own? I don't think so. You know, with a little bit of help from us Brits. And think about other wars. Yeah. You get by with a little help from your friends. Yeah. Great allies we are. But all I'm saying is, there always seems to be an excuse to start a war. And if you look back, some of the excuses are very, very obvious. They're simple, stupid. And it's like, well, why didn't we see it? Why didn't people see it with the jab? It's just the way that things are done, and they are pre-planned. Most of them are pre-planned. I'd say 99.999% are pre-planned.
Well, it was that guy that they started World War One or Two, whatever. The license plate was like 11/11/18, and that's like the date that the war ended. It's like, all right, and here, this is, I don't even know when we're going back to here. This video is so grainy and old. It's 2.5 minutes. I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to show you though, where this guy was talking. He was like in the Pentagon, and he was like, yeah, I guess we're going to war. We're going to go to Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Sudan, Lebanon, Libya, and Iran. So it's basically like, wait, like, why? He's like, oh, we were just basically told about it, essentially. I'll play like 20 seconds of it. This is just interesting to listen to.
About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me. And one of the generals called me and he said, sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second. I said, well, you're too busy. He said, no. He says, we've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq. This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, we're going to war with Iraq. Why? He said, I don't know. He said, I guess they don't know what else to do. So I said, well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda? He said, no. He says, there's nothing new that way. They've just made the decision to go to war with Iraq. He said, I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments. And he said, I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail.
And then he basically laid out how they were going to not only go to Iraq, but all these other countries here that I listed earlier. And some of you may remember me saying, like, every day after 9/11, I was going home and being like, okay, well, what is it? Day one. Oh, we think it may have been this, Osama bin Laden guy, Osama bin Laden, for about 3 weeks. You heard him say there, about the 20th of September. So September 11th, not even 3 weeks. It's a lot shorter than I remember. So it's less than 2 weeks, right? September 11th to the 20th is 9 days. Osama bin Laden, we're going to Iraq. And I was like, that right there, that decision was basically what made me start looking into this stuff deeper. That was the moment in which I went, bing, the light bulb kind of went off in my head. And I was like, wait, what? We're going where? So that was it for me, Lisa. That was my awakening right there. Like when they said, we're going to Iraq. I was just like, I have no idea why they would. But let's stick on the investigations
Gilgamesh's grave.
Gilgamesh, yeah, absolutely. Where is okay, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, and I think this is brandy new. So Chairman Barry Loudermilk sent a letter requesting to interview members of the Kamala Harris's Secret Service detail regarding the pipe bomb incident at the DNC. This is very interesting. Now, we covered this, me and Hulk, the other day, I think on Table of Titans as well. But they basically pinned it down to a Capitol Police female officer. So it's not looking good. And they did, they did gait analysis, Lisa, where they said I think it was 97% factual that the same walking gait of this woman matches up to the person that's in that video. So it's not looking good for them. What do you guys think? You got any statements on this? I'm going to pull up the video, the link that I have about the woman that they accuse, essentially. But
yeah, I was just looking for the pictures of the woman. But yeah, this is developing. That sounds like a fairly good match.
I got you.
We played it on the show, the video. Where she's got a grey hoodie. Whoever it is has got a grey hoodie on, and we said about that looks like a woman. I said it at least, that walk, it doesn't look like a man, You know, women's hips work differently than men, and it's just interesting that it's well, Tranny wouldn't agree with you, but,
we would say she's very butch looking.
Yes, very butch.
Yeah, but still, you know, the position of the hips will tell you a lot.
You look like a field
It
hockey
would
player.
certainly affect it certainly affect one's gait. Yes.
Unreal.
But also implanting the bomb, it's like you know. Anyway, there was also all kinds of anomalies that we pointed out about the Secret Service going into a building where they apparently just walked past the bomb. They were supposed to have done a search of the area because that's their job and all of that. Just lots. So it makes sense. It makes sense.
Big time. And did you notice where else she was found on January 6th? Yeah, it was January 6th. So, says the alleged January 6th pipe bomber firing at the beginning of the Capitol Police's response to the Peace Memorial Gate breach. Shawnee Kirkhoff and U.S. Capitol Police officers were taking headshots at protesters with less than lethal rounds at the crowd on the West Plaza within minutes. Interesting. After the first breach, 13 minutes after the first breach, police order of force, crowd fighting, throwing projectiles warned. I need less than lethal above to ID agitators and start deploying. Launch. Joshua Black stood quietly by police, shot in the face by a rubber pellet. Remember that guy. And remember, this whole thing was basically cracked off by what made the whole thing kind of go into a frenzy. Was these guys lobbing, I don't know what the hell they were, M80s or some concussive things into the crowd, right? Where we had some people getting heart attacks and stuff like that. But yeah, what first? Look at just what I was saying right here. What first agitated the crowd on? Let's see what we got here. 30 seconds. So 32 seconds. And guys, this on January 6th, I was live streaming this stuff, and I specifically remember. So if you go into like this area here, I don't know if this is the very specific spot, but you got like stairs or whatever, and then the place that I was looking at on January 6th that I was covering essentially had one of these areas where there were stairs on the other side and then just a wall. And then that wall went nowhere. It was like a 50-foot wall that you couldn't climb. It was kind of just made of concrete like this. And in my opinion, that scuffle that they had was like a display. It was a choreographed display because you had a bunch of people pushing to get into an area that there was nowhere to go, right? And we know the whole thing about, hundreds of agents by now that are in there, undercovers and whatnot. So the whole thing was absolutely a big stage, a big setup. And not only that, but like I said, this stuff's coming back into the fold, guys. I just find the timing of everything coming back around right now to be extra dasting at this point. So I'm loving this. MaQaveli, anything you guys want to add to this or otherwise?
Just the time frames of all this stuff happening. Like when they said it happened, I think it's a lie. I think wasn't Trump an hour late to the Stop the Steal? We got to consider who all was there within the Stop the Steal crowd and thereof. You got to think about all the people that participated. They got arrested during January 6th. They all weren't innocent. They might have been a part of some separate agenda that they're not disclosing yet.
Yes.
So this is all ongoing investigation. So I think there's a lot more behind this, and the people that are behind this are acting like they're on our side. However, they don't know if this is going to, the truth is going to be released, and it's going to be very dastardly, as you say, to find out who all was involved in this and so forth.
Well, there is, I remember footage, and I've probably got it, and it's showing, the various different agitators You know, they were the ones who were pretty well dressed as far as protesters were concerned. You know, with their bulletproof kind of clothing and their balaclavas and all kinds of things. You know, they look like they'd just been kitted out. And there's people shouting commands. There's people urging the crowd. There's just so much footage. It's all on video, which is fantastic. You know, and you can find out who these people work for. Because one of them, I think, was
Brian Gamble was one that during this that I remember seeing footage.
I don't know if it's Brian Gamble. It's somebody
allegedly.
that works with. It's somebody that is it Brian Gamble? His name? I don't remember that being his name, but I don't know, Mike. I just can't remember because it's so long ago and there's so much footage. There's all the footage of the so-called protesters already in the building and telling you how much they got paid to be there. They're already in the Capitol building. They get changed in the Capitol building in a room, before the window was broken, So yes, the timings are very interesting.
For this one?
But there's so much footage, so much footage.
Remember this
one,
guys?
Like the way that the camera angles that you mentioned, Space Shot, a few weeks ago, where they purposely, miss things or purposely capture things.
Yeah.
Somebody was controlling the camera,
Look at this. Somebody was actually moving the camera on January 6th because they were following the guy with the eye patch there, Stuart Rhodes.
You played it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
you played it.
So if anybody hasn't seen it, this is the guy they're looking at. He comes off the camera, and then it's like, oh, well, we lost him. And it's like, well, wait, whose hand is this? That's actually by hand moving the camera side. And everybody's trying to use their cell phones, but they couldn't because the cell phone coverage is out.
Yeah, and then the footage of, do you remember a kind of a small bus turning up and and somebody moving the barriers so that they could just be bussed in? Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
So there's just so much. There's just so much evidence that this was completely fabricated and staged. I'm not saying all of it, but to instigate what happened, absolutely.
Interesting.
And I think there was even adverts for people to get involved, if I remember rightly. You know how they do for these false flags. Oh, we need actors, and can you do this and can you do that?
Speaking of actors,
this was great. This was great today.
What happened? And this is
Thank you, President Trump. Finally.
This is fresh off of a visit on the View, not for him.
I passed a great, big, beautiful bill, which is the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country. So when somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's now catering to the other side, I don't know what, I guess she's, got some kind of an act going, but I'm surprised at her. But when somebody like Marjorie goes over and starts making statements like that, it shows she doesn't know.
It shows she doesn't know. So yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene is catching some stuff from President Trump, and here we got a few clips Mac dropped in a row here. We got some highlights from his speeches here. Let's take a listen at the next one here.
I hope that we're going to be able to have a health care where Lindsay and I were discussing it, Jim and I were discussing it, and Katie, we discussed it. We want a health care system where we pay the money to the people instead of the insurance companies. And I tell you, we're going to be working on that very hard over the next short period of time, where the people get the money. We're talking about trillions and trillions of dollars where the people get the money. Yes, please.
That is the longest scam going, is insurance. It's a business based on fear of your health failing, which we all know it will eventually fails, in whatever way. So it's kind of like taking advantage of people. It should be a service I think every American should be able to enjoy as long as you're a tax-paying citizen. But I think this is a great way to get those corrupt insurance companies out of the way. I mean, they commit fraud constantly. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's
along with the doctors posting the insurance as well.
100%. I was
hospitals.
just about to say, ask a doctor how many times insurance companies commit fraud. Now, if they commit fraud, they're being investigated. So it's a
I think it's a
it's
conspiracy. It's not just the insurance companies, because there's been a lot of people. If you look at cases over the last year, there's a lot of people that have been committing the insurance fraud, and it's kind of, like there's a conspiracy. They're working together. Some of the doctors like overcharging because they know they're getting insurance, blah, blah, blah.
We're
There's
talking about
people
two
getting
different
money
things.
and
I'm talking about a regular doctor, for a patient to go to a doctor and get a service, and that service falls under a certain procedure under the doctor. They'll call the insurance company, and then the insurance company will only pay for a separate procedure that's less money, and that's where you get insurance fraud. That's what I'm talking about. It's done on the daily.
Too much money.
Yeah,
I mean, everything is. Lisa, it's just like the military. It's just like the military where a comb is like $12 or something like that, and these places just take advantage of people. And remember too, there was a clip that I think it was actually a pharmacist. I believe the guy was. He owned a pharmacist. He was a pharmacist. He owned a pharmacy. Then he came in and started talking about what is it? It's some group that actually lays out the prices that you pay for your stuff. So say, all right, yeah, do you have your same insurance? Yeah, same. Blue Cross Blue Shield. Okay, copay's $5. So this guy said, go into a pharmacist, and even though they might say to you, oh, hey, same as last time, Blue Cross Blue Shield, say, oh, no, can you run that without the insurance and tell me how much it costs? It might be $2, right? So some of these places are actually making you pay the copay of $5 or $10 for some medicines that may only be $2 or $3 if you don't even use the insurance. So that's just a small part of it. But the whole system, the whole system needs to be revamped.
That's what I mean about there's a conspiracy. It's not just the insurance companies. The doctors and the establishments are also involved in it because they get paid.
Big bucks.
And I've just noticed quite a few cases. People overbilling and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the patients that's doing that. That's the hospitals that are doing that, or that's the doctors. I'm just saying that they're not all innocent, and there's some big cases that have gone on more recently.
Absolutely. Now, was this? I don't think I played this one yet. Did I? Let me see. Hold on.
I hope that we're going to be able to have a healthcare where Lindsay and I.
Yeah, no, this is one I played already. So these are a little low on the sound. I'm gonna bump this up, guys. So give me a second after I play it. Lisa or Mac.
Deal. And China's paying tariffs to the United States, not the United States paying tariffs to China, which has always been the way it was. Nobody can believe these deals. But so when somebody makes a statement about he's devoting time to the world, well, the world is the United States, because if the world's in trouble or if the world is ripping us off, the world was ripping us off before I came here. Europe was getting massive tariffs. They were sending us 9-10 million cars a year. We were sending them none. They were not taking our agriculture. We were taking massive amounts of their. It was so unfair. Now we have a deal where $950 billion is coming into the United States because of me and because of tariffs. So if I don't do all these things, our country is doing very poorly. So, it's easy to say, oh, don't worry about the world. But the world is turning out to be our biggest customer. The world was on fire. And we could have been in that fire very easily if you didn't have a president that knew what he was doing.
Boom. Yeah, the world. And he's the king of the world. He's now the king of Saudi Arabia. He runs the Vatican. He's now the king of England. I don't know. But I could see like Supreme Allied Commander, something along those lines. You know what I mean? But I don't know about king of the world. But he's right. He's absolutely right. The whole world, they basically, we're like the linchpin of all these places. You know what I mean? They need us as much as, well, I wouldn't say we need them.
Just look at China and how they've progressed off our taxpayer money of the past 20, 30 years. I mean, they're a first world country now. So, and that's just part of the money that's gone to other countries. So I'm loving President Trump bringing it back to the United States, because we've never really known what it's like to have money come back and really be done for the good and back to the people. Obfuscating the third parties, the middleman. One quick note, I got a quick message. The insurance companies are only companies or entities in the world that are exempt from antitrust litigations as well. So they're not regulated. It's ridiculous, man.
Are you serious?
It's non-regulation. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, doesn't Obama own shares in Blue Shield as well? And Blue Shield is owned by a family, all of that. And with the Obamacare, it just meant that their shares rocketed up because they've increased their business,
Who's crinkling? Somebody's crinkling.
Yeah, Lisa, your microphone's
must be hitting on something. There we go. This is things need to change big time, and he's right. I mean, they need to revamp these systems, and they need to make them, basically make them manageable. And you got all these nice doctors.
Didn't he truth out about that today? He found out that he stopped how many billions of dollars from royalties going to the people. Anybody see that?
He had some. Let me see. I got one of them.
I'm trying to find it.
Got one of the one of his truths I was going to discuss on or touch on too. I think one of you guys had dropped it as well. The happy 250th to our Marine Corps. So we had the country, we had the Army, and now we have the Marines today. Says from its founding at Toon Tavern in Philadelphia to the sands of Iwo Jima, Korea, Vietnam, and the Middle East, and every fight since then, the U.S. Marines have always led the way and crushed their enemies. Peace through overwhelming strength. Semper Fidelis. We love you all. President Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. Thank you for your attention to this matter. But yeah, he's been on a roll. Been on a roll today. As he sometimes does get on there. But which one did you want me to look up, Mac? It was healthcare? He has
I can't find it.
The stop payments, yeah. I think
the 9th? I'm sorry.
The payback
I don't know.
numbers?
I can't find it. I wish I could find it, but I remember seeing something where they found billions of dollars that were going to royalties.
$2 trillion, sound right?
That's about probably it. I'm not sure.
It says, quote, the payback numbers being quoted by the radical left lunatics who would love to see us lose on tariffs because of how bad it would be for our country are much higher than those being stated by our fake opposition. Opposition mainly from foreign countries that would do anything to be allowed to charge us tariffs without retribution. The actual number we would have to pay back in tariff revenue and investments would be in excess of $2 trillion, and that in itself would be a national security catastrophe. Those opposed to us in the United States Supreme Court are giving low numbers so that the court will think it's easy to get out of this terrible situation that these anarchists and thugs have put us into. Oh my word. $2 trillion. And yeah, dude, he's made a huge change on the global scene, right? And it should be fair is fair. It's like, well, if I'm sending something to your country and it's 10% or 20%, then it should be 10 or 20% the other way around, right? But the idea is it was very difficult and more expensive for us to sell in other countries. And meanwhile, every other country out on the planet just drops their crap on us, right? Made in China, made in Taiwan, the Philippines, all these different things we see. And it's like, how much less could our deficit be right now had he been doing this, or a president stepped in and did what he's doing now, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, right? Could have been a much different world we're living in right now. But any comments on that, Lisa or Mac?
Oh, just the leverage it's given him, stopping the wars and being able to have more equal or better trade deals. Like, I don't know how many Mercedes cars that you see on a daily basis in America, but they ain't American, and you can't sell American cars in Europe. And that's just Mercedes, Don't add Volkswagen, there's all of these other brands that sell in the US. And yeah, us countries can't do without the US. US is a big market for a lot of people, and it's a huge market for China. It's a huge market for China as far as where they do business in the world. If you have a look at the percentage of business that they do in America, I'm pretty sure that's probably the majority of the business that they do is done in America. And same with the UK, and Europe. A lot of business comes from America. And that's why, they're all buckling when he says about tariffs. It's like they've got to go with it. Remember Europe? Oh, we're not going to pay you anything, and we're gonna slap some tariffs on you, and all of that kind of thing. And then they just went and crumbled like a rich tea biscuit in a cup of tea, dunked in a cup of tea.
Oh yeah,
I'm loving the tariffs. Keep them coming. That's how it always should have been. They changed it a long time ago, but it's being brought back. And I did find the truth in the chat.
The truth. All right, let's pull that up.
It was Doge.
Oh, the Doge ones. All right, we'll pull that up, and then we'll get back to this one here. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, and this is from, it looks like yesterday. President Trump reposted, wow, this hashtag breaking, Doge halts yearly payments of $2.5 million to Barack Obama for, quote, royalties linked to Obamacare. Obama has collected this payment since 2010 for a total of $40 million in taxpayer dollars. That's crazy.
How does he get royalties?
Wow. For using his name, I bet. It's called Obamacare. He'll have copyright over his name. I wonder if it's that. I've got a feeling it just might be something as simple as that. So he calls it crazy. Obamacare and then charges you.
Trump care. Let's see. And of course, AI will tell you that no, and then Forbes will tell you that Trump posts fictitious claim Obama received royalties from Obamacare, and of course you have Green Matters, who is now apparently the new Snopes or whatever. CNN, Jake Tapper fact checks President Donald Trump's false claim. I wouldn't doubt it though. I absolutely wouldn't freaking doubt it at all. Wouldn't in a second. But I think Mac, did you drop this one here? The Memphis Task Force. Either you or Lisa dropped this one. This one's pretty good. And, my question is, where were all these prior to President Trump? Because if they were, I don't remember seeing them. Memphis, Tennessee, as of November 8th, the Memphis Safe Task Force has located and safely returned 101 missing children. Parents and caregivers can now sleep soundly that their children have been safely returned home. U.S. Marshals Service Missing Child Unit is assisting local state authorities in investigating these cases. Quote, we are happy that we have been able to use our fugitive hunting skills to assist local and state authorities with finding these missing children, said Emily Williams, U.S. Marshals spokesperson. Quote, what a testament to our partnerships to be able to work these cases together. While investigative work is tedious, locating missing and endangered children is one of the things we are most proud of. The Memphis Safe Task Force, an interagency coalition of federal, state, and local law enforcement partners, continues to demonstrate the power of the collaboration in advancing public safety. Operation is a testament to the dedication of every agency involved and the strength of our shared commitment to protecting the community of Memphis. So this is huge. So they got so many, marshals. Little burpy burp there. They got so many marshals out there that they're like, oh, hey, why don't you use some of these and we can help get rid of, help find some missing children. Very interesting. And I feel like,
well, I wonder if,
go ahead, Lisa. I was just saying, I feel like they have.
Sorry, I wonder if that would have happened if they hadn't sent in didn't they send in the FBI to Memphis?
FBI to Memphis. I think they did go in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trump had mentioned that they sent them in like
early.
Prior.
Yeah. So it seems to me that it's like that was kind of the instigation, and Kash Patel has been talking about the interagency kind of cooperation and partnership And so has Pam Bundy as well.
Say the word. My favorite word. Say it. Remember?
Interoperability.
There it is.
Yeah. But you know, I think that this is the way to go, because what they're doing, they're using the strengths of these different departments and agencies. You know, like they said, they're used to, you know, like investigating and finding people and stuff like that. And it's like, why not? You know? And then you've got the local law enforcement as well. And if they join forces, it's like they're unassailable, or they can at least maximize what's possible. And it's necessary and it's important. 101 children, you know, there's not 101 Dalmatians, there's 101 children. Like, wow, you know?
That's great, though. We're not, you know, we weren't seeing this for quite a long time. But then again, you know, I don't know if I was too focused on looking at all these.
And there's a lot of these. I mean, I've been tracking this. I know a lot of people have been. There have been so much more of these kinds of arrests and saving children, you know, since Trump's been in office. But over the past, you know, 8 years, it's just gradually gotten more and more. And now it's reaching a pinnacle, I think, you know, of finally getting everybody back that was taken during the Biden administration.
Also the criminals as well, the criminal illegal aliens. Yeah, there's a lot of those that are going, and there's a lot of people that are actually happy about it, you know, and not just Republicans. Not just Republicans. People are seeing it, people are feeling it. And wasn't it Memphis that kind of invited President Trump as well to do his thing in Memphis? I'm pretty sure they were really happy about them going in there.
Hey guys, I told you earlier about how I, you know, cut my links off. I literally cut them in half and took the most important ones, of course, for our wonderful audience. But again, sometimes when you do this, you cut off things that you don't mean to. And I got a funny that had to do with Brandon Johnson that I didn't bring up. But not only is it funny, but it's also very poignant and very truthful. So this is obviously a parody. So, but listen to it, and it's you tell me.
Hi, I'm Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. Part of running a Democrat monopoly is lying. That means scaring you with the Republican boogeyman, even though we haven't elected any in over a century. So even though all the crime and poverty is us, we'll still scare the shit out of you. They're coming for your breadcrumbs. What, you gonna run or elect someone else? We're all you got. We're the lesser of two evils, remember? And that's why you fools will pay more to have less. Highest water taxes when you live on a lake? And it's why you'll accept the murders and carjackings or having to ask the clerk to unlock the toothpaste. So it really doesn't matter if you re-elect me or not, because chances are you'll keep picking worse.
Remember me?
Or how about me? And don't forget me! So go ahead, keep voting blue. Think it can't get any worse? Oh, it will.
Hello, New York!
Oh God, it's so true though. It's like, who you gonna vote for? The other side? No, they're the boogeyman. We love you. It's like, yeah, but people are getting killed left and right, and the economy's in the toilet. Yeah, but the other side's horrible.
Yeah, you've also got, you know, like they've been reporting a lot on the companies and the people that are moving out of New York. So the realtors are having a boon day, you know? They're moving, you know, they're moving to Connecticut, they're moving to, there's a few places outside of New York, and they literally are moving. And when people said that they were going to move, the Democrats were like, oh, no, they won't leave. And it's like, they're leaving, you know? They're leaving.
Mass migration.
And that's going to make it's actually going to make it worse, really, you know. And I'm not sure how he's going to implement his policies without federal money. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. But hasn't New York always been blue?
Yeah, unfortunately.
You know, for as long as I can remember, it's been blue. So they keep doing it. So it's up to them. Right? It's like reap what you sow. See what happens with the socialists. And by the way, a Harvard University professor who's well respected has come out today and said that he thinks Trump's right about about them installing all of the woke people in Harvard. You know, he agreed with Trump. He was asked the question, yes, and he agreed with Trump. Today. It's today or yesterday. And that's something. That really is something. But he said it's not good to I'm paraphrasing, he said it's not good to have everybody just biased to one side without any, flexibility or any balance. And that's what's happening, So that's how people are being indoctrinated.
Love it.
They just have to go to certain universities and that's it, because that's all that they're going to get. And they're also banning women in. No, it's not the Olympics. It's sport altogether. Sorry, banning those she people from women's sport. They're not going to be able to perform anymore as from next year. Not one.
Wow.
Yes, because they've come out with a scientific study to show the advantages and the benefits of being born male, and what that and that how that impacts competing against females who are at a disadvantage. A scientific report, people telling us what we already know.
Big time disadvantage. Yes.
Yeah.
Not even
And that
close.
boxer, remember the boxer in the women's boxing? The two of them, and they both won and they both beat their opponents to a pulp. Apparently they're refusing to take tests. So they've been, so they're banned already. Yes.
Oh yeah. Guys, I got two more and then I gotta kind of get going, but this, I think, one kind of follows the other, and I don't know why it's not starting on this page when it should here. One follows the other. Let me see. I'm going to do this one first here. I'm not going to, this is 3.5 minutes, but I'm only going to play maybe the first 30 seconds, maybe 45. Here we go.
Breaking news out of the Southern District of Florida. MSNBC has just learned that two prosecutors there who were asked to take part into a vast conspiracy investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election have now resigned. A source familiar with the internal concerns among career prosecutors tells MSNBC that U.S. Attorney Jason Redding Quinones called a rare division-wide meeting this afternoon over the resignations. Joining us now, MSNBC senior White House reporter Vaughn Hilliard and MSNBC senior legal reporter Lisa Rubin. Vaughn, I read through the piece. It's hard to follow in places because there's so many different things going on. Can you try to untangle it for us and simplify what exactly is at concern here in Florida?
All right, let me take the helm here, guys. So these, quote, prosecutors that are resigning down there that don't want to take part of this investigation, they're junior prosecutors. They're two junior prosecutors, essentially, and that they didn't want to take place in this. So two resignations of the Southern District. MSNBC is saying the investigation is looking into a vast conspiracy. The truth is coming out, and this meltdown is a sign that the DOJ is over the target. Lock up every last crook. Can't agree with that more. But as well, guys, they make it sound like they're like lead prosecutors. They're basically assistants. And this last one, I think we'll play this one quick. Here we go. It's 1 minute. Here we go.
Today, we've sent a letter and launched an investigation into J.P. Morgan Chase Bank after alarming revelations about their coordinated efforts with Jack Smith and the Department of Justice as part of the Biden administration's Operation Arctic Frost, where we now know Biden officials went after their political enemies. It's come to our attention that J.P. Morgan debanked Trump Media Group, a Florida-based company, right before the business went public. This is a crucial time for any company. a time where you cannot afford to lose your bank. In addition, we're aware that JP Morgan Bank solicited tons of information from Trump media unrelated to their business practices, and we believe provided sensitive banking information to the Department of Justice without real probable cause. This is wrong, we will not tolerate it, and we will hold them accountable. Here in Florida, we've passed legislation to protect our consumers from wrongful debanking.
So more political stuff, and I don't know, my memory's escaping me right now, guys. You know, the whole thing about JP Morgan and debanking people and stuff, and something's just itching on me. It reminds me that there was something bad about JP Morgan. I just can't remember it off the top of my head. Something with Epstein, was there? Yeah.
Yeah, and there's yeah.
Oh, JP Morgan's $290 million settlement with Epstein accusers approved by a U.S. judge. Would you look at that? So, yeah, no, it wasn't political, guys. It was just, you know, they just didn't want them on their platform anymore. Heard that one before.
And how many times have we heard Jamie Dimon kind of criticizing President Trump, and then later on he then changes his mind, and then he's criticizing President Trump, and he changes his mind. Now he's criticizing President Trump, you know? So, you know, don't you think there's a kind of play there?
Oh, yeah, back and forth. Back and forth.
Yeah.
I love it.
He always comes out and makes a statement in the press that's kind of knocking President Trump, but it is, you know. And then he's agreeing, and then he agreed that he's going to help Mandani.
Interesting how that works. Mac, anything on that one, brother?
Yeah, I didn't know this, so I looked it up. JP Morgan Chase was highly involved in the vaccine distribution. They spent over quarter of $1 billion in bond financing through International Finance Facility for Immunization to support COVAX, a global initiative aimed at equitable vaccine access, particularly in low-income countries. This financing helped Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, secure and distribute vaccines to vulnerable populations. So Sri Lanka is one, Vietnam. I mean, it goes on, but a
lot of companies did the same thing, Mike. So they did it under the guise of corporate social responsibility. So they were helping the vaccine rollout. A lot of companies did the same. You look at a lot of companies, just like how people, and just how like how they supported. Gave money to Black Lives Matter under the guise of corporate social responsibility, and helping humanity and all of that. They all did it. The Queen did it. Yeah, absolutely.
For humanity. I just love it when they tell us.
We did it for humanity. And before this disappears, well, actually it did disappear, but thank you, CES Contrias1, who dropped me a $20 Rumble Rant. Says, happy belated birthday, Space Shot 76. So thank you, Mac and Lisa. I don't know if you know, but since the last time we've talked, I've turned the big 4-9, and next year is the big 5-0. So I'm glad I only feel like I'm, 30 most days, after I wake up for 15, 20 minutes and do my stretches and my bones pop and this, that, and the other. But thank you for that, CES Contrias. Appreciate that one. So final thoughts, gentlemen and women, ladies and gentlemen there. Mac and Lisa, we will do Miss Lisa first. I'm just waiting to see the next shoe, foot, glove, whatever is going to drop, because we're circling the drain on a lot of these things that I've talked about earlier, right? Like all the different scenarios, January 6th, the gerrymandering, Crossfire Hurricane, Arctic Frost, the elections, voter rolls, like all this stuff's coming back into the fold now. I'm loving that. So I don't know what's going to be the next thing to, kind of mosey us down the road here, but I'm waiting for it, and I'll be here to report it with you guys. So, Miss Lisa, anything on the way out of here, or your final thoughts?
Yeah, a bit of fun for me. I'd really like to see President Trump take the BBC to court. I really would. You know, give them a big kick up their biased, whatever it is. For me, that would be funny. That would be humorous, because they deserve it. And they keep getting away with it. And President Trump would be the one to kind of bring them to heel. I think that would be a bit of fun.
I second that.
You have a third. Do I have a third? You have a third, yes. And I think you have another 900 in the chat that would agree with that as well.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Lots of people would agree. Sue the pants off so they can't be doing that crap anymore. And maybe next time they think about doing something like that, they'll think twice. Just maybe. Probably not, but maybe. You never know. Mr. Mac, parting ways, final thoughts, sir.
I wish we had more time. A lot we missed. Just going to cover a few. Supreme Court has decided on mail-in ballots to be received by Election Day, I believe. So that's huge.
When's that coming? So that's already ruled?
No.
Or that's coming?
They're going to hear it.
Oh, okay. And because I think the one that they just heard on tariffs, it's going to take like what, a month or two for them to get the actual. Decision.
I haven't. Let's see. Yeah, I have to pull it up, but I didn't get the date on here. Unsigned order, November 10th.
Yeah, it's never quick. So I know it's usually like a month or so. So the one on the tariffs. So then they'll hear this one, and then we'll wait a little bit and get the answer on that one. But yeah, good to see that they're hearing it. But sorry, continue.
Trump posted an interesting article. Russiagate's last case is going to be heard. So what's after Russiagate is probably where we're heading, is how I read that as comms.
Again.
Yeah, so there's maybe something to track. It seems to fit. What else? Shoot,
Mike, where are we with Comey?
I don't know. What do you mean? Where are we?
With Comey, is he like in court next year? James Comey, when's his court case coming out?
I don't know the dates yet, but I know like Brennan, I think got subpoenaed. Strzok got subpoenaed. Lisa Page, a bunch of people just got subpoenaed. Brennan, I mean.
Order to produce record. Judge ordered prosecutors to turn over evidence by the end of the day, November 5th. Following concerns about the handling of the case. So that's Comey. Pled not guilty to charges. And so, yeah, it'll be going. More trouble for the Comey indictment. So you got lawfare and places like that out there trying to tell you, like, oh, it's a stretch for Trump to fire, to sue these people or for these people to get in trouble for the crimes that they did, which is BS.
And Tulsi Gabbard recently, I don't know how recent the video was, but explained that basically Obama's behind the rigging of the election and everything. So,
hell yeah.
So that's a very good sign that we're heading that direction. We all know it's going to head that direction. It's just when. Ghislaine Maxwell is asking for a pardon. Representative Luna said that Schiff is next to be probably indicted because of his mortgage fraud, I think, because he says he's a resident of Maryland and he lives in California. Kim Kardashian failed her law test. That's a big shocker.
Oh boy, Kim Kardashian.
Did she even take it?
Oh,
I don't even.
Have you ever seen the video I made? I can help you in other ways. Maybe you pass me this test, and you come see me in a hotel room later. Just really quick on Ghislaine. She's super happy right now that she was transferred to, I think, Texas. And she's happy that there's a lack of possums on the ceiling and that the facility is clean. And for whatever reason, my link doesn't want to link. Wow, my link doesn't want to link. Not linking. Oh,
Ghislaine's going nowhere,
Oh
yeah, pardon me. Yeah,
pardon me. She's asking for the pardon because she answered all those questions. So I wonder where this is all going.
Well, she never, she wasn't successful in her appeal, was she? And then we've got all of the stuff with Prince Andrew. Well, he's not, but Andrew Mountbatten Windsor now. All of that stuff. Because now he's an ordinary citizen. It's like subpoena away. extradite him to America.
Well, that's the thing
Doesn't
too,
do
Lisa.
it.
I don't know if they can do anything, right? Because he's a UK citizen. Like, they can't force him to come over, right?
Yes, they can. Yes, they can, because America has an extradition treaty with the UK, and America can extradite UK citizens over to America. It's just that as the UK cannot extradite citizens from America without America's say so, and America is never going to say so.
Yeah,
That's the way that it is. It's very one-sided, but you can actually remember the guy who broke into NASA, Mac.
Gary McKinnon.
It was said that he couldn't be extradited, but they had their reasons. But there was an extradition, whatever it is, warrant for him. You can definitely extradite people, but you need to take it through the judicial system.
How
That's
funny
all it
would
is.
that be, Lisa? How funny would that be?
Same thing happened to Assange as well.
Yep, absolutely.
But just think though, we need you to bring over your former, your former brother. Can you extradite him to the United States for us? I'd love to see that one.
What do they call it? An extradition? So we've got an extradition treaty, and now he's an ordinary citizen. Remember that. So they can do it. They can do it, but they just have to take it through the court system.
Can't wait to see that happen. We'll see if that happens. Let me run over here really quick. So thank you, Carrie Lake. Drops 117 gold pills over on thefoxhole.app. Make sure you guys are checking them out. Pilled.net or thefoxhole.app. Minnesota Girl with the cookie says, so glad all of this is coming into the light. Thank you guys for all you do. Thank you for that, Minnesota Girl. And Q shook me all night long. I like that name. Dropped a cookie. Thank you for that. And then Good Dog with the can. Thank you for that. And NX17 with the can. Says, much love, SS, Lisa, and Mac with a capital Q. Thanks for your work. Appreciate that and releasing those scratchings. And I am going over to D-Live where I'm going to thank ProDeck, Susie Q, and P Dancer. And I'm dropping 50 into the bucket, 100 on Saturdays. And those are diamonds now, not lemons. And distributing those rewards, and they're coming at you in 26 and counting. Mac and Lisa, great show today. This was episode 182 of Hold the Line. And just remember, guys, on all platforms other than YouTube, once you see the thanks for watching screen, just wait another 10 or 15 seconds, and I'll play that other video for you on the way out of there. And Blue Eyed Bandit just dropped a $10 Rumble Rant. Says, happy belated birthday with a emoji of a birthday person blowing one of those things on the birthdays. Kazoo, I don't know what they call those things where you blow it and the thing spins out. But thank you for that, Blue-Eyed Bandit. So, and thank you to the mods out there. You guys rock, helping myself and many others out there. We do appreciate your help. And for Mac and Lisa, again, great show. And we will catch you guys next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern for episode 183 of Hold the Line. And as we say at the end of every show, and truly mean it, we do appreciate each and every one of you wonderful world patriots out there for tuning in. And until that next video, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace and peace.
Hello, guys, something special is happening in here. That's right, it's brackets and jackets, bringing it back for brackets and jackets, special Epstein Island edition. That's right, folks, Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the man with the island, which is suspiciously close to Haiti. That's right. You see this man, Jeffrey Epstein, is funding lots of people. He's funding lots of people on the street to make sure his shit doesn't get out. That's right. They want the record sealed. And they're paying a lot of people. Epstein's paying a lot of people. Oh, boy. For one, he's got a whole Mossad media matrix in America. And I would bet you anything that Alex Jones is one of them. Prove me wrong. That's right, Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the building with songs about Epstein. It's Breakfast and Jackets Epstein edition. Guys, I had some epiphanies today. I had some real big epiphanies about some guys. A big network of guys and spies and lies and liars. All right, think about this for a minute, okay? The guy in Portland, the scientist that just got busted for producing CP, that guy is 1 degree of separation away from Epstein. Epstein, the investor that lives in West Palm Beach, Florida. I know a guy who lives in West Palm Beach, Florida as well. Investor as well. Also involved as well. And all is not well with these guys. The Florida boys, the Glow boys, the Scott Israels of the world. You see, Epstein is Hillary Clinton. And Epstein is Haiti. And Epstein is a big network of media assets. By the way, did you know that Steve Bannon was going to that guy for money? Also, Epstein is Epstein Oprah. Epstein is Chris Tucker. You remember him. Epstein is also Kevin Spacey. Epstein is also Prince Andrew. Epstein is also... Who else is Epstein? Who else is Epstein? Tell me. You guys know? Who else is Epstein? Is Epstein Big Pharma? Is Epstein Bryan Singer? Is Epstein Naomi Campbell? Yep, all of the above. All of the above. Who is Epstein? Epstein is the keystone of a whole motherfucking matrix. And once you pull it out, it all falls down. Dersh was there too. That's right, we're dropping red pills every day. Dropping red pills in the best kind of way. This is Brackets and Jackets for the denizens of islands.